Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Friday, February 26th. And you can see temperatures out there this morning in the upper teens to the mid 20s across the area. And we got a pretty mild weekend coming up as it looks right now, so we'll have a chance to continue to clean up from the storm. And already we're looking at the another potential for a major winter storm to hit the Great Lakes. Again, we got plenty of time to figure this out. Certainly the snowfall amounts could change north or south here over the next 3 or 4 days. But currently, while we can't show you the European model, we can show you what they're expecting as far as snowfall for Tuesday night into Wednesday. And you can see right now the heaviest band looks like it's going to be from around Houghton Lake down to about St. John's. And in this area, about 6 to 12 inches is forecasted by the European model. And then on either side of that line, looks like a good area of about 2 to 6 inches. So it puts the heaviest snow across central and north central lower Michigan. And we'll show you some other snow maps in a minute. If we look at the next slide, you can see the driveway here outside my office here at Ransom Road just plowed out this morning. We had some more, a good 3.5 foot snow drifts across the scales. So very windy conditions all day yesterday really built those drifts up. And you can see as we skip ahead to Sunday, this is going to be the lead system that's going to set the stage for a major storm to move towards the Great Lakes early next week. And by Sunday morning, that lead low will be across Minnesota heading off to the east or northeast. And again, there's a potential that this cold high pressure system could hold and suppress this low a little bit farther south, maybe across south central lower Michigan. But for right now, it looks like milder temperatures, at least into the 40s as we get towards Sunday. And with rain falling out ahead of that system, that'll turn to a little bit of snow. But again, if that tracks a little farther south, certainly central Michigan could see a couple of inches of snow from that. Right now, though, the best bet is that any major accumulations as far as a couple of inches, 3 or 4 inches, would be off to the north. But as this system moves by, it's going to drop a cold front down across the Ohio Valley, and that's going to set the stage for a system coming out of the Rockies that'll drop down into the plains along that frontal boundary, and then it's going to move towards Lake Erie again, and it's going to be a very similar track where it ends up off to our east, although it may be a little bit closer. Rather than coming out of the south, it's going to be coming from the west. And again, that could help pull up enough warm air that could certainly bring rain across some of the areas. And again, the models are a little bit different. It's going to be very important where that track of the storm is, and we'll show you some of the forecast models here in a minute. You can see as we look at the forecast map now, as we get into Tuesday morning, a pretty strong system coming out of the Rockies. It'll be gathering strength as it comes out of northern Missouri heading towards Lake Erie off to our south. So we should at least have a good chance of snow across central Michigan and to the points north. And again, even southern Michigan will need to pay close attention to this storm. Right now, I think confidence is pretty high across north central and lower Michigan of a pretty good amount of accumulating snow. And as far as some of the individual models, again, we've seen the European on the main page, and this is a GFS. You can see only a couple of inches or an inch or two around Lansing area, but all the way up to about 9 inches at almost 17 at Mount Pleasant. So you can see a pretty big increase in snow once you get up into central Michigan. Now, if we look at the Canadian model, it actually has the heavier snow bands off to the south. Again, that's why everyone in the MAC and LAC areas should watch later forecast models on where the track of the storm goes. But somebody across the Great Lakes is going to get, again, quite a dumping of snow, it looks like, with stiff northeast winds behind that system with blowing and drifting snow. And it looks like a pretty good shot of cold air that's going to come in for the rest of the week into, I think, the next week. And we may even be looking at another system as we get towards later next week, following week. If we look at the Japanese model, again, you can see the heaviest precipitation is across southern lower Michigan and the northern Ohio Valley. And again, generally on the heaviest area of precipitation, you look just off to the north, and that's normally where the heaviest snow will fall. And I think that would be on this map from around Manistee to Alpena, Harrisville area down towards St. John's, Lansing area. So I think, again, most of the models are trying to hone in on a place around central Michigan, either north central or south central or in between. But again, we'll watch on models. It may end up in the UP for all we know. But certainly this is a storm worth watching. Now the next few slides I have, we showed at the MAC and the LAC winter conference meetings here over the last couple of weeks. And again, the reason for the last couple of big storms, the first two missing us off to the east and southeast, you can see a major crash in the Southern Oscillation Index here, really from around the period around Valentine's Day, and that's kind of responsible for the troughing in the east and for the very busy weather, including the recent storm that affected us, the one that's coming up early next week. you can look at this big crash in the SOI, and that eastern trough is why we're in the stormy and reasonably cool pattern, although not real cold. If we look at the next slide, focus the area off here to the northwestern Pacific from the Gulf of Alaska into the California and down towards Baja. If this warm water continues, this is why we expect the potential for at least some additional moisture, above normal moisture, as we go into March, maybe even April, before I think we turn pretty warm and pretty dry for the summer. Again, the longer this hangs on, the more available moisture we'll have, and we'll probably need that moisture as we go through the growing season. And of course, you can see the Atlantic really warming up, and that's going to lead, I think, to a very busy Atlantic tropical season, and especially the potential for more Cape Verde type hurricanes coming off the African coast and working their way through the Atlantic. And if we look at as far as, let me take the picture off here. As far as the analog years, for years that we have, much like this year, coming out of a very strong El Nino and transitioning into a moderate to strong La Nina like the forecasts are indicating, you can see these are the analog years. And then when we look at those versus the corn trend line from the 1950s to present, you can see these large areas of purple represent the most closely analog years to this upcoming season we see. And you can see some of the more volatile years have come in those transition years from El Nino to La Nina. And so certainly this could be a volatile year for the Great Lakes. Now, once we get established into the La Nina for next year, I think we'll have better moisture chances here across Michigan, Ohio, and southwest Ontario. And I think the areas in the Corn Belt down to Texas and out to California go under the gun for the potential for significant drought conditions. So that could be a good market opportunity for us here in the Great Lakes. Thanks for stopping, and have a great Friday, a great weekend, and 73s to all.